ROKP is short for reverse out knee pain. There are 3 distinct levels: body weight only, adding resistance, and then eccentric. Each of these 3 is so safe that when tested individually, it's been proven you can do it up to twice a day. ROKP can be done as a warm-up before activity, as a warm down after activity, or as a standalone workout on an off day. Level 1 starts by simply walking backwards. This has been passed down from generation to generation in China, where they have only 1 knee replacement for every 19 of ours. And you'll see that when you walk backwards from your very first step and every step thereafter, you're strengthening your knee over your toes. America, the birthplace of no knees over toes, is statistically the worst country on earth at knees. And to the degree that other countries copy us, we see their surgery incomes skyrocketing, just like ours have been, and just like ours are projected to skyrocket even more. Backwards walking is dope because you control the difficulty. You can take a smaller step, as small as you need. And as you get stronger, you can take a farther step. Simply walk backwards for 10 minutes at the level that feels good for you. Particularly in youth athletes, rather than progressing to level 2, you could stay in level 1 with just your own weight, and you could start running backwards. A study was done. 1 group ran forwards, 1 group ran backwards. And of these kids, the backwards group got faster at the end at running forwards than the forwards group did. And for every 1 inch of vertical jump the forward sprinting group gained, the backwards group gained 4 inches of vertical jump. Of course, it's a super ridiculous sounding thing when I say I'm the only guy who went into his 20s unable to grab rim.
Going from a guy that could barely slap backward and now is throwing down windmill dunks is unbelievable.
And now is going into his 30s, dunking off all 4 plants. But maybe now it makes a little more sense when you see that over this last decade, I've been the most obsessed on earth with how good I get backwards. So within level 1 of reverse out knee pain, you basically control it by how far your steps are and or how fast your steps are. Those are your 2 monitors, and you can always control it to a level that there's no pain for you. Moving into level 2, we start adding resistance. This becomes very equipment dependent, but I have tons of options I'm gonna show you today. Since it burns a lot more, instead of 10 minutes straight, we're just doing 3 sets of 2 minutes on off with 2-minute breaks. So it still takes 10 minutes from start to finish. The most common is getting on a treadmill, turning around the other way, not turning it on, and spinning it backwards yourself. Next most common would be dragging a sled, but if you want to do the cheapest way, you get a big bag and you fill it with sand. You can get sand for as little as $5 per 50 pounds at Home Depot. Dragging sand in a bag on grass works very similarly to a sled. And there are some new inventions, such as the tank, which uses an internal resistance, as well as things like the Matrix or the Skill Mill, where it's like a dead mill that you get to control the resistance. I've even used my car in neutral, which I love, but you have to have a flat space and you have to have someone obviously in the car. And I've used chains, which is surprisingly effective because the chain has a lot of friction to it when you drag it on cement, so that works really well too. The reason older crowds tend to do better by resisting and younger tends to do better by actually just running backwards is because running backwards does become a lot more force and more potential risk. Whereas when you're still going somewhat slowly, where even if you try to keep working harder, you can't get going too fast, that tends to do better as you age. Meaning, even if I loaded your sled with 1,000 pounds, it just wouldn't move. But if you get going too fast, we might get ourselves into a little bit of trouble. So the younger you are, the more I think you could just turn your backward walking into backward running. And the older you are, the more I would like to see you turn your backward walking into adding resistance to still prevent from going too fast. It's also surprising conditioning, and this was my secret for playing basketball, finishing playing, everyone being gassed, and me feeling like I wanted to go out and dunk because I was the strongest guy in the court backwards. So if I was coaching a team, and when I have coached teams, I don't make them do any sprinting in the conventional way because when you play your sport, you're already doing enough of your sport activity. All I would do is I would line up the whole team, I would get sleds for everybody, go out to that 100-yard field and see who can get the strongest backwards. And I would do something like that, and that would be my punishment. And when I coached high school basketball, that was my punishment, and we were freakishly healthy. We didn't do more forward running. we did backward sled as our punishment. Now, the third and final level. You want to use 2 minutes of your resisted backwards to get a warm-up, then take a 2-minute break. Now with these last 6 minutes out of our 10 minutes, you're going to set an interval for 1 minute where you're going to end up doing 3 sets per leg, 3 sets of 60 seconds per leg back and forth. Now we are only working on the way down, and I found a really safe way of doing this is to lower to the other foot and use only the other calf to get up. Meaning if you have to bend that other knee or use your arms or something like that, you're probably gonna get into too much trouble. So this is proven that you could lift yourself up manually, but I don't want you to get into a level that's that high for you. I want you to take it step by step where you're just controlling down, able to get back up pain-free only by using the opposite ankle. So we're still overloading the eccentric, but at a gradual level we can handle. Now this itself breaks down into ball of foot on floor, heel elevated as the lowest level you could do. Now if you go up 2 inches, elevate your heel. That's about the same as if you just stood on a slant board. So slant board or 2-inch plus heel elevation is level 2 within level 3. Then we go to 2 inches slant board or 4 inches heel elevation. Then we go to 4 inches slant board or 6 inches heel elevation, then 6 inches slant board or 8 inches heel elevation, and finally 8 inches slant board or 10 inches heel elevation would be the highest that I would allow you to do. Simply fight down, assist yourself back up with the opposite foot. When you hear the beep, switch sides. You could pause it if you find it's too difficult, and you could go to a lower level, or if you're finding it easy, within a session you could then try higher. So those are your 3 options for reverse out knee pain, because all 3 of those options have been proven so gentle that you could do them twice a day, though my general recommendation would be 3 times a week as warm-ups for your knee ability sessions.